Described by her college counselor as an academic powerhouse, Yo-Yo is in the top 1% of her class this year. She enrolled in courses at Princeton University on single variable analysis with introduction to proofs, and this spring honors linear algebra. The content alone is difficult enough in these courses, but the logistics were equally challenging. Since Yo-Yo had to be at Princeton 3 afternoons a week, sit in a classroom of Princeton freshmen and sophomores, and make up all the work she missed at Hun. Yo-Yo managed all of this and more. She has been on the high honor roll each year. She was inducted into the Cum Laude Society as a junior, and she is a 2024 National Merit Commended Scholar. She has challenged herself with the most rigorous curriculum offered. Her passion is math, and she has undertaken multiple math competitions and has done significant summer work at math programs at Harvard and Hampshire colleges. Yo-Yo's teachers commend her active engagement in the classroom, and her peers listen attentively when she speaks around the Harkness table. Yo-Yo's achievements extend well beyond the classroom. She seamlessly straddles her Chinese roots and her American experience and is comfortable sharing her Sichuanese cooking with her friends here at Hun. In addition to math, some of Yo-Yo's other interests include Thoreau, philosophy, physics, the Edgertones, transcendentalism, and the Afghan Education Student Outreach Project, where she was director of the math curriculum. Self-disciplined with superb organizational skills and diligence to achieve high standards of excellence, Yo-Yo's unassuming grace and intellectual sophistication belie this quiet super achiever. She holds true the Hun principles of participating in and enriching the community in which you live. Yo-Yo will matriculate to Princeton University in the fall. On behalf of the faculty, I am proud to present this year's Paul R. Cheesebro Co-Salutatorian Award to Yo-Yo Xiao.
Hi, everyone. I want to start off by thanking all the family and friends who made the trip and time to come here today. Some maybe from just down the road and others from across the globe. And thank you to those who changed their plane tickets to be here as well. It is special for us graduates to share this important moment with people who have always been there for us and supported us. Thank you, faculties and staff who made this happen and who took care of us all through these 4 years. And finally, thank you all for being here, class of 2024, celebrating for one another. And thank you, Mr. Brunk, for presenting me this award. I've procrastinated so much to write the speech. Well, not for the writing itself, maybe a little, but I've procrastinated to think about and accept the fact that this is the end of my 4 years of high school. As I understand it, my task today is one of closure. Despite each and every one of us having very different experience at Hun, it's very important for us to come together and reflect on our shared memories. In the midst of the past and the future, we get to sit and stand at the mall, here now, and reminisce about our 4 years at Hun together. Even though starting at a relative minimum, we managed to survive our first year of high school during the worst of the pandemic. Some of us spend more time with our parents than ever, and for others, Zoom meetings were the majority of our ways of seeing other people. Some took place in Carter or Poe, while others were at very odd times. I remember Zooming in at 8:25 p.m. every day from the other side of the globe for advisory check-ins and try to put together what Poe Annex really looks like from everyone else's screens. I remember the community engagement posters that were sent out by Ms. Albanese and the Tea Time Tuesday that Ms. Hansen was always promoting during advisory. It really felt like yesterday that every classroom had an owl. I remember some of my friends' Zoom backgrounds so vividly that when I visited their house, I knew immediately which room and which chair they were sitting in during Zoom classes. And then sophomore year was when I got my visa and came to campus. I saw so many familiar faces in real life for the first time, but only during lunches and dinners because the rest of the time I could only see the upper half. Well, in my head, time seems to have elongated indefinitely from there. and it still doesn't feel real that we're already here on our last day of high school. My memories of sophomore and junior year are kind of blurred, and by that I mean it's difficult for me now to differentiate whether things have happened in sophomore year or junior year. I've had this theory that the more you think back on some of your memories, the more likely you are to warp it in a way you like. So I developed this habit of writing everything down, with every single detail, just so my memories do not lose their original shapes. For instance, I wrote about how Ms. Pelling almost always dropped her second block for AP Chem, and even if she didn't plan to, she would fall for 3 hearts and a kind email. I wrote about Mrs. Newman's giant lollipop box that never seems to empty, even with Devon's stats devouring. I wrote about Miss Ruth's excellent acting when we threw the Gatsby parties. I wrote about Dr. Busey walking into every single stream or river we came across in Maine barefoot. I wrote about Dr. Mr. Holmes' green tea, Mr. Working Hours' pink tie every Friday last year, Madame Falsitano's homemade crepes, Mr. Davis's I see, says the blind man, Miss Hanson's fruit snacks and cookie bars, Miss Wright's cutest APCSA package and her crazy dog Zoe, and Mr. Jubach's kindness for lending me the discrete math textbook for 2 years straight, and so much more. However, I revisited some of my notes from 2 years ago when I wrote the speech, and I found that many of them were about how much I wish I could be at home with my parents and just Zoom into class. I was so drowned in the past that I became negligent of the present. So now as I look back, I couldn't find anything on the beginning of my sophomore year except for the complaints. And this is because of the lack of closure. I never got to think through the fact that I was leaving my family, my friends, and the place I lived for 16 years before I got here. In fact, I was trying not to think about it before my flight, just to avoid the tears and heartbreaks. And that resulted in my ignorance of the present 2 years ago. Well, I also did not know that this place would become a home away from home for me. I'll always remember the mysterious alarm that always goes off at 9:44 p.m. in GC every Thursday night, the almost unlimited popcorners and Doritos in the Russ Live office, the medium rare steaks for community dinners, the warm birthday emails from Mr. Stone, and the ping pong tournaments that were always going on and on and on and on. So bringing it back, now this is the closure for us all. In our time here, we successfully navigated through RadarNet and then Canvas. We have had both semester systems with marking periods as well as trimesters. We have lived through roughly 628 class days, 4 next terms, and 12 concerts, 12 plays, and 12 art shows. We have won 40 sports championships, both individual and team, over the past 3 years after COVID, and 2,133.5 community service hours in total on record. Now, today's farewell has done its part of sending off the past. We shall now move on to the next part, as it is also the beginning of our next journey. A farewell is a noun, but it's also a directive. Fare, as in traveling, a journey or expedition. Well, as in safely and joyfully. So I wish you all safe travels, today or tomorrow, on highways or in jet streams. We shall all move forward, travel through time at a linear pace with the direction of the future, with the love and support of everyone here, and to do great things in this world filled with endless possibilities. Thank you.